Well, good morning. Welcome to Daily Focus. We have an incredibly sad part of the crucifixion story today. Jesus is before Pontius Pilate. He's given them the option of releasing a killer or a healer, a Barabbas or Jesus. And we looked at the fact that the Pharisees, the chief priests, the scribes, they went about and manipulated the people either by deception or through fear or coercion or whatever they needed to do. But let's look at verse number 19 because I've entitled this, The Phrase That the People Yelled, Let His Blood Be on Us and Our Children. How they must have been filled with hate to actually want to take responsibility for the killing of an innocent man. It was more important to kill an innocent man and get him out of their way than it was to do the right thing. And James chapter 4 reminds us that when we are controlled by the lust of our flesh, the desires of our flesh, we will kill and desire to have. In other words, we see people simply as pawns to be used and manipulated, or we see them as problems that need to be removed out of our way. And it's so easy to see it in our culture, our society, where people, whether it's in the corporate setting or in the political setting, and many times even in family settings or Christian church settings, where people are viewed either as pawns to be manipulated and used or problems that must be removed out of the way. And it's so very sad, but it is part of the depravity of man, and it's put on display in our text today. Matthew chapter 27, starting in verse number 19, when he had sat down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, Have thou nothing to do with that just man? For I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. In other words, we know in this day, God used a lot of things to get people's attention, and dreams were one of them. And Pilate's wife said, Do not have anything to do with this perfect, just man. He is not guilty. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said unto them, Whether of the twain will ye I release unto you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said unto them, What shall I do then with Jesus, which is called Christ? They all say unto him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why? What evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to it. Then answered all the people and said, His blood be on us and on our children. Then released he Barabbas unto them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus to a common hall and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers, and they stripped him and put on him a scarlet robe. They began the mockery. They began to create shame. They created a mock trial. And you claim to be king. Well, then let's make you a king while we crucify you. And you know the story, and so it's going to get increasingly more emotional. It's going to get increasingly sad to see Jesus Christ, who was perfect and just, becoming sin, taking the punishment of our sin, being separated from his Father, and laying down his life as he shed his blood for the remission of our sin, taking our guilt and paying our penalty. But today I want to draw attention to the hate that must be garnered in the heart of human beings to actually want to remove somebody who is standing in their way of what they want. There is just little that compares to that level of hatred when somebody you know is innocent, you are willing to make them guilty and pay a price they do not deserve in order to satisfy a desire that you have for what you want. Can I just encourage all of us to be honest regarding the desires of our heart? What do we want most? What do we desire most? Who do we want to please most? And let's just settle in our heart that we can't trust our own heart. It's deceptive above all things and desperately wicked. We can't trust our society or our culture. We must come back and let the Spirit of God take the Word of God and help us to fulfill the desires of the Son of God, Jesus Christ, who laid out what our lives should be and be committed to living those lives for his glory. I hope you have a great day. I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.